Hi guys, that's Gianpaolo Lorusso speaking for a new edition of the Top 10 PPC News of the third week of October 2025. What we are talking about today: Google Ads automatic values for new customers, balancing automation and control, demand gen for new business, connected TV growing also for B2B. Sources in AiMax search term reports, quality score, lives and fights among us, tax guidelines spotted for the first time, recurring purchases in Google Merchant Center next. Meta ads, creativity and consistency is the key to the success in 2025. Video generation function, in-store or on-site conversion, in-shop better or on-site conversion, product catalogs in sales campaign. In shop, I mean on Facebook, not in brick and mortar shops, of course. But let's start with something outside our top 10. Which has been published a couple of some days ago. It's by WorldStream. It's the updated conversion rate benchmark for Google and Meta, and for 23 different industries. So if you want to have an idea of what your sector, your industry is paying conversions in Google ads and Meta ads, here are the data. Please remember that are global and average data, so don't trust them completely. LinkedIn has released a new infographic on measurement, B2B measurement. And it's, of course, filled up with data from the platform itself, and so it's interesting to have a look to it. But let's start with the news number 10 of this edition. Better than ever. The news number 10 is by Fidami, Emanuel Flossi, and he has recorded a video to explain how works the new function in Google Merchant Center next, in probably enlarged beta in USA, about the recurring purchases. So this is something very useful for serial sellers, and it's going to arrive to be released probably before the shopping season. Let's hope so. By now it's only in for US merchants and not for all of them. News number 9. Harper Banerjee has one of the first releases or rolls out of tax guidelines, the steering function for AI to exclude or include terms for text automatically created by AI in Google Ads. News number 8. On LinkedIn, Giuseppe Scollo, a very good Italian PPC professional, has shared some data about click-through rates and cost per clicks of actual campaigns in responsive search ads. And the correlation is, the inverse correlation is quite strong. So when you have higher click-through rates, you have lower conversion, lower CPCs usually. So this makes me think that quality score is still very present even in responsive search ads, and that's the demonstration, the analytical demonstration. News number 7 of the third week of October is actually 3 posts on Meta ads, some updates in Meta. One is by Dario Zanoni on LinkedIn.com, and he's explaining how he's changing the product catalogs set in sales campaigns. The second is by Emirhan Batius about the new conversion on website or Meta shops. The third is by Dario Zanoni again about the video generation feature. He's explaining the guidelines of this new beta, which has been which is probably released in these hours. The news number 6 is by Thomas Excel on LinkedIn.com. He has spotted among the first ones the new source data for AiMax search reports. And this is interesting, of course, to see why those specific search terms were triggered. News number 5. Which actually are 2 news shared on searchengineland.com, one by Melissa McKay, who is explaining, is sharing a couple of real case histories on how to target B2B in connected TV, in particular in YouTube ads in this case. And the second is again on connected TV advertising, but more general, and both on Google and Microsoft, which has different different platform in which it may run, like Netflix, Roku, and Paramount Plus. And Ollie Kelly here is explaining some features and best practices for these kind of campaigns which are growing in parallel with the growing usage of connected TV, of course. News number 4. It's by Andrew Hutchinson on socialmediatoday.com, and he is commenting here the new functions released for Demand Gen, announced on Demand Gen Drop, the new channel by Google on updates on Demand Gen. And here the highlight is on new customers. So now you can set a value for new customers in Demand Gen, or set a value for or target high value customers, or even only new customers, of course, with all the limitation of due to the fact that Google might not address them, might not recognize actual present customers. But the news number 3 of this week, the podium is actually because are two news, one by Andrew Lork on savvyrevenue.com. It is explaining why too much structured campaign is going account is going to be detrimental to performance. And on the same level, but with a different angle, Brad Geddes on adanalysis.com is explaining how to set a workflow to match artificial intelligence and human supervision to have the maximum performance possible in your campaigns. The news number 2, in my opinion, for this week is actually, because there are two pieces of news, one by Alan.agency by Dan Wenwood, and is explaining why in this sea of sameness, as he writes in his post, being consistent and creative, or being creatively consistent, is a key to the success for this for 2026 and beyond. And on the same level, John Loomer on johnloomer.com is explaining exactly the same thing, but with a special focus on meta and all the technical settings you can have to push for performance based on creativity. But the news number 1 in this week, in my opinion, is has been reported by Anu Adegbola on searchengineland.com, but actually was put by Bilal Yassin, a Danish PPC professional, who has noticed that Google has set a new customer value automatically without notifying him this fact, and this might have disruptive effects on the campaigns, both because Google might misrepresent this number, might not understand the real value of new customers. And the second fact is that this number is inflating conversion values for all conversions. So this is very nasty, especially because it wasn't announced, it wasn't reported anywhere. So you can have your accounts devastated by such a test they are doing, as Ginny Marvin confirmed. So that's it for this edition. If you like this PPC news parade, please comment, like, or share it, and maybe ROI be with you till the next week, at least. Ciao!